Hi everybody, this is Alchemist 2 and I'm back again with another movie review. Last night I decided to watch the film Like Dandelion Dust, which is based off of the Karen Kingsbury novel of the same name. Now, going into actually watching the film itself, I really didn't have any idea what it was going to be about. But it is about a young couple at the very beginning who are having issues of their own, Wendy and Rip. And Rip is an alcoholic and he's abusive, and she never told him that she had gotten pregnant while he had to be sent away to jail, and she gave the child away for adoption. And there's another couple, Molly and Jack, who adopt Joey and they raise him as their own, and it's very touching. I didn't think it was going to be touching at first. I thought it would be very depressing, but it's actually a very uplifting film, and it's a really good hearted film that has a lot of morals and values infused in it, and I like that about it. It's a different sort of movie, and it has kind of unique dialogue in it, which makes it stand out amongst other films, I believe. And I didn't know anybody who was in the film itself. I never heard of any of these actors or actresses, but I felt that they portrayed their roles just wonderfully. And my dad had made an observation about Rip's character, and he said his whole involvement in the whole duration of the film itself was the fact that he just wasn't ready for a family. And I'm not going to give away the ending because that'll just spoil it, but I thought that it was a very intriguing film, well worth a watch, and just a good movie. Not exactly a 4-star movie, but a 3-star movie, give or take. And I don't know, I think this was a low budget film. It wasn't a movie that had a lot of special effects or anything razzle dazzle pizzazzy. It was just your typical film where you are introduced to a family with its own problems and characters who have their flaws, and they're working through their own difficulties and issues and drama, and in the end they are able to come to a solution and reconcile and make amends. And that lesson in and of itself I thought was just splendid and superb. And I don't know if there are a lot of movies like that in the world today, but this was a refreshing respite from other movies that may not carry the same sort of lesson in them. I can recommend this movie to anybody who is interested in such a story as this. It's a good story. It's really well done, and it's definitely you can watch it with your family. It's PG-13 just because of the thematic elements and the violence that's portrayed, and there isn't any cursing in it at all. It's just PG-13 mainly for the fact of the domestic violence and abuse, and that I'm not going to say what the ending is, but be prepared to have your Kleenex with you because it's very heartrending. But I really do recommend this if you're a Karen Kingsbury fan. Even if you haven't read the book, it is excellent, and it's just a very enlightening, uplifting film. Now, as far as updates are concerned on what I'm doing, this is a mock poster I came up with for Atlanta. My movie is directed toward children, but this is before Crystal, my main character on the left, saves my character on the right. I'm blanking on his name right now, unfortunately. She undergoes a transformation after she makes a wish on a star to become like her favorite character, Atlanta, from the book that her father wrote, which he was awarded a Newbery Medal for. It's another be careful what you wish for tale, and in the end she finds she has friends in unlikely places who spring her from her aquarium where she's being kept by these scientists who are studying her and wondering why she has the ability to morph into so many different aquatic creatures. The second illustration I did, the character up at the top left, that's Malcolm. He's the only smoker I've ever created, oddly enough. He's kind of a badass. He in the recent story that I wrote, the intrepid detectives on a mission, the college years, he he's the one who is responsible for stealing Brandon's scholarship. I know, big spoiler alert, sorry, but his modus operandi for doing that is because he wanted the attention of his friend, and this is just the wrong way of going about it, and he learns that, and then you come to realize that Malcolm is really not so bad as he comes across to be. Of course, he's very charismatic, and he's got a lot of charm. More than any other of my characters. That's why I like him so much. He really is a good character when it comes right down to it. And the characters to the right, they are Sardunians. This is from my latest sci-fi epic that I am currently working on, called Crystal Heart. And the female character, that's Queen Alcyone, and the male is Alvis, and they live on a planet called Sardune, and the Sardunians are a peaceful race of creatures that live symbiotically with their environment. They have a power source from azurite mines, and azurite is a material that enables them to live and exist. And the two royals that I have pictured there, Alvis and Alcyone, they have 12 children, and it's actually quite normal for Sardunians. And their youngest child, Adolf, he's a ruffian, and he's kind of the rebel of the family, and he wants the throne for himself, and thinks of a rather diabolical way of doing it. I'm not going to give away what that is, but Crystal Heart is currently in production, and I've got other things I've written down on paper here. For instance, my Intrepid Detective series, I am going to be working on Chapter 2, which is the Ford feud. Chapter 3 is the Case of the Campus Predator, which will be a little bit more mature themed than I think my other chapters were. Then the 4th chapter, which is the case of the test cheater. I can't talk, sorry. The last one is about what all the characters will be doing after they've left college and they reconvene. They reunite, actually, which is really great, I think. I'm going to be writing a story about Greece. I've never been to Greece, but it's going to be a romantic comedy called Aphrodite Unbound. And let me just read the synopsis here on this piece of paper. A lovely woman with a free spirit named Gina meets a Greek woman who becomes her best friend. Her name's Mia. Mia helps Gina see her inner beauty and power, and she gains confidence, because at first she didn't really have confidence. She also is able to convince her shy co-worker to take her out on a date when she returns from Greece, and her co-worker takes notice and sees the immediate radiance of her and thinks, what happened to you? Guess that trip from Greece really did transform you. It's going to have a lot of good Greek music in it, which I really enjoy. And I think I'm going to infuse a little bit of Zorba the Greek in there, since it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Even though it is, in the end, it's a bittersweet ending. And when you have nothing else, boss, you dance. And that's actually become one of my one of my mottos. And actually, one of my nicknames is Zorba, but for that reason. But beyond that, it's going to be a really good script, I think. And I've got a lot of other projects that I'll be working on. One's going to be a summer themed film about surfing, which is one thing I've always wanted to do but have never tried. I got lucky once on a raft and I was able to steer it into shore, but that was just a lucky shot. I never was able to do that again. I was about 13, and yeah, I rode the waves into the shore, and it was just so amazing. It was the most incredible freeing feeling that I had ever had since being in the ocean. And the only thing I can equivocate that to is sailing, but sorry, I'm getting off track here. But basically that's what I'm up to, and I hope you enjoyed my review, and stick around. I intend to see Water for Elephants and Captain America, and hopefully Thor, if Dad will go. He's not really into movies based on comic book characters. He was interested in Captain America, and I thought, yes, he really wants to see this film, and I was just overjoyed, and I just can't wait. And I'm excited to see Tommy Jones again, as I just love him as an actor, and I missed him since his role as Two-Face, which really wasn't actually, that was a fitting role for him, although he has had a lot better roles than that. I don't know what else to say other than I will catch you on the flip side, and just stay tuned for my next movie reviews.